ladies and gentlemen. Today is a very exciting day. I have not been streaming for a while. I finally finished school again. It is a little bit of a different day. So I have a hobby where I really like to make custom PCs. These PCs are built to your liking based on your budget, based on what you like, based on how much you got, and it's all based on the amount of money that you have. So I started taking orders. I made an announcement on my Instagram. I also posted it on my Facebook and word of mouth. And my buddy John wanted a PC, so we took to Amazon, Newegg. We started looking up prices, and we put a PC together, a pretty good PC in my opinion. I finally finished building it. I'm calling it a red Glacier. The reason for it is because the power supply on it was called the Glacier, and then the chassis of it is actually red, which actually I think it looks sick. It actually looks amazing. It's a Bit Phoenix Prodigy M, and it's a red chassis, mini ITX. He wanted a small form factor PC because all he's gonna be doing is gaming. He gave me a budget. Of course, we're gonna be discussing the parts, and I'm gonna kind of show a quick video on me piecing the PC together. But yeah, anyway, let's get to the parts. All right, so first of all, we're gonna get started. We're starting with the Ryzen 2600. Now, a lot of people, if you guys are PC enthusiasts like me, a lot of you guys, if you guys look at the parts that are available online, or if you go online and you start looking, you see that the 1600, which is the previous generation Ryzen, is actually on sale for about $149, $149.99, and it's an insane deal. You can get a B350 motherboard for about $60, and then pair that up with 1600, and then you can update the BIOS and then upgrade your processor to a 2000 series later if you would like. And then I'm not sure if the new Ryzen 3 is going to be available, but one thing that John wanted was he wanted future proofing. The cool thing about AMD is that unlike Intel, if you guys have built your own PCs or have built a custom PC before, is that every time Intel comes out with a new processor, Intel forces you to buy a new motherboard, and if they update the RAM from DDR3 to DDR4, then you're forced to buy an entirely new set of RAM, and then you just a lot of the core components are just gone, and you have to just kind of tear apart your computer and go and make another one. Really, the cool thing about the AM4 socket is that Ryzen and AMD are committed to this long term, at least till 2020 is what they're saying. So it should be compatible with Ryzen 3, it should be compatible with Ryzen 4, and it's and we paired it up with an X470 motherboard just to keep it as future-proof as the latest that we can, so that we make sure that the newest processors are available. So anyway, I went with a 2600 processor because my buddy John wanted just something that would game, and then possibly if he wanted to get into like maybe some streaming, then he has that option. I honestly cannot recommend an Intel CPU because of the price. $165 is a steal for a 2600. Of course, a 1600 will run you around $150, but for $15 more you get about 15% extra performance and much better overclocking. I really think the 2600 is the best bang for your buck right now in terms of CPU that is more than capable. Next, we're gonna move on to the motherboard. So we went with the X470 ROG Strix I, which I is for like I guess like ATX. ITX. So he wanted a small form factor motherboard, and we went with a really tiny. It was my first time building a small form factor case, and it was, man, I'll show you the image in a bit, but it was a really tiny motherboard. It was very, very small, but it was about $199, and it was an X470, like I said, and it had all the components that you want. It had your SATAs for your SSDs. It had your enough fan headers, so I was able to put all three of the fans, which was a CPU fan and two chassis fans, one in the back for exhaust and one in the front for intake. And it had all of that. It allows up to 32 gigabytes of RAM. We got two 8 there, and then we went with a regular SATA SSD. I didn't go NVMe because he's only doing gaming, and NVMe is more for content creators. So yeah, the ROG Strix I ran you for around $299. The RAM prices are still a little absurd. They are so hard to come by. Like, good prices are so hard to come by, and the problem with Ryzen, that's the one thing I will have to say, is that they benefit from faster memory. If you look at any of the other content creators, all of the benchmarks will show that the faster memory you have, the more performance you get. Like, unlike with Intel, you'll see maybe a 3 to 5 performance gain when you go from like 2400 megahertz to 2066, and then all the way to 3000. With Ryzen, you can get upwards from 15 to 20% more performance off of your RAM the faster that you clock it. I would have liked to go with a 3200 megahertz RAM, but we're already pushing the boundaries with a little bit over a K on on our price budget that he was comfortable with spending. So we didn't go any further, but I think this RAM is definitely more than capable. I have it in my own rig. I have 16 gigs as well, and it's been working amazing for me. Alright, next up we're going to go with the power supply, just to get that out of the way. It's just a 500 watt, 80 plus bronze Roswell modular power supply. So modular power supplies are great because you will only use the cables that you need, and you will also only be plugging in what you need. So I only plugged in one SATA. We have a few fans, and then the motherboard and CPU, and of course the GPU, which I ended up taking up two of the cables so that the cable management would be a little bit better. Alright, getting that out of the way, what's next? We got our storage. We got a simple 500 gigabyte. We got a 500 gigabyte Crucial MX500 SSD. I actually used to have a BX or BM. Is it BM? Reads and writes, so it's a blazing fast SSD. Boots up the computer within 40 seconds. Really good buy, and will run you about $99. And I think an SSD is probably a must, even in budget builds, even if you can get like 120 gigabytes, just because it makes your computer that much faster. And when we look at like more budget builds, like $500, $600 oriented, even 300 to 400, we're gonna try to squeeze that SSD in there because it just makes your computer so much faster and a lot less hassle whenever you decide to upgrade. For the graphics card, we went with he found a great deal on in Micro Center for 200. We went with a 6 gigabyte 1060 GTX 1060 Pascal and ROG edition. We were going to ROG. We got ROG. I'm a huge Asus fan, so tons of ROG. And this graphics card is more than capable, as I'll show you in the benchmarks later. I actually didn't have it with me because he actually bought it in the store. He shipped all of the parts to my place, and I just put it together. But I will show you some benchmarks with the 970, which is like the predecessor of the 1070, of the current 1070, and it's still a little bit weaker than the 1060, but it can handle any game at 1080, any game at 1080p, 60 FPS at max settings, and I have not been able to find a game that can't, except for maybe like Crisis 3, but it's an old game that I don't know if it's optimization, but that game was nuts for destroying your computer. Got the case, the Phoenix Project is just a gorgeous looking case, and I just absolutely love the pick. He picked it in red, and it just actually just makes the red Glacier, I mean, it has a really nice ring to it, so we're just gonna go with that. And we decided to buy the 212 Evo from Cooler Master. This is the best budget aftermarket cooler, and aftermarket cooler makes your computer that much better. It makes it a lot quieter because it's a much larger heatsink, so the fan doesn't have to work as hard, and it also keeps your CPU nice and cool. And with XFR, if it notices that your CPU can take it, it'll bump a few, like not all the cores. A lot of the problems with overclocking is that if you overclock every single core, then you won't be able to make it like to the XFR rated, which like the CPU boost now is now. The CPU boost that comes out of the box right now, it's stated at 3.9, but I've seen people being able to push it all the way to 4.2. But that's not every core. Sometimes it's just like 2 or 3 cores that are what you need for your gaming needs, and then you'll get that extra performance. Overclocking Ryzen actually, like, you don't even have to upgrade your cooler, and it'll detect that your CPU can take it, and it'll just automatically boost the frequency. So it's just fantastic technology, and give props for AMD for making it that much easier for the consumer. Alright, so right here I want to show you a few benchmarks just to compare the 970 to 1060. So I played a few of these games on my 970, and then I used scooztech.com. They have a fantastic YouTube channel, fantastic website to check. As you can see here in Call of Duty World War II, the 970 trails behind the 1060. Same thing here with Project Cars. We got an average of 69.9 FPS with lows of 65 FPS. The 970 gets 55 FPS minimum with an average of 59.8 FPS. So you can see that the 1060 is a quite capable machine. All of these tests were done with 1920 by 10. We're done in 1920 by 1080 in Ultra. This one has 16 times anti-aliasing, so it's a very powerful graphics card, and I'm pretty sure that this will not disappoint John. I really hope that he likes his rig.